Yeah. Fabulous. Hi, guys. Welcome. I hope you guys are all having an absolutely wonderful evening or morning or night, depending on where you're coming from. We have the lovely Lisa here, and she's from Maryland in the United States. And there's Monica coming from England, as per normal. Obviously, Mondays is all about spiritual awakening and our different gifts. Now, Lisa's been given some wonderful gifts, and we're really happy to have her here. And she's going to have a little talk about, what her gifts are and things. And what would you like to say, Lisa?
Well, first, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate your inviting me, and I'm very happy to be a new member of the group. And I'm excited moving forward to learn more about what you all do and becoming, engrossed in everything and becoming an active member. And yeah, what would you like to know?
Okay. Well, what's your if you could say what was the thing that you really enjoyed most about? We talk about on Mondays. We usually talk about spiritual awakening, and we
Okay.
talk usually about a specific topic. So, for example, we bring on different guests who have had experiences in things that we normally haven't. So when I was talking to you, I was really interested because you had an absolute plethora of things. So I mean, a bit later, if you feel like it, I would love to just touch on your. I know you haven't done it that much, but the experiences you had with psychic surgery. It's one of my things. My mother was a brain surgeon, so she was
Oh,
actually the only female brain surgeon in England at the time.
oh, wow.
So
That's
I'm
cool.
yeah, so I'm quite interested in psychic surgery and things like that. And let's you. How would you describe yourself first?
Um, I consider myself a quantum healer and intuitive practitioner. For me, quantum means that I work across all timelines, lifetimes, and dimensions. And so the struggles, the patterns, the unwanted behaviors, belief systems that we operate under, how we do life, when we have struggles, when we have things that come up that aren't comfortable for us or don't work out for us the way that we want them to, where there's misalignment, there could be a couple of different reasons for those. And one, it could be that it's an ancestral hand down, or that it's a past life something or karmic something that you're either looking to heal, overcome, or restore this lifetime. And so you're usually given this challenge, if you will, this struggle, if you will, because that means that you are in position this lifetime to heal, overcome, or restore whatever that struggle may be, so that you can move forward in a more positive direction that is aligned with your purpose. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, no, that's very cool. Yeah, I think my personal one is patience because I've always wanted to get things done yesterday,
Wow.
and I always want to do too much. And I think the patience is definitely one of the lessons that I've got to learn because I'm always
Mm.
sort of being knocked back. I mean,
Mm.
when we were creating this spiritual village, it actually took us 10 years to get it approved. I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, I'd already done two other businesses in the States by the time that we finally got this approved.
Jeez. Well, that
Yeah,
does seem like a long time. I can see the frustration there.
the law changed twice during it, and not only that, the every time the people in the council changed, so we then had to go and present it again to a different set of people. It was yeah, wow. But what's interesting spiritually was that when it was, this village is all about helping people. But when it was actually approved, the Church of the Mother Mary, which is overlooking our village, it got €1 million grant. And then the disabled school, which is right next to the church, got approved after 6 years. So we all got approved right at the same time. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, that was my that was one of my things. Monica, what was your
Oh,
one of your things you had to in this lifetime deal with? You think?
My yes, quite a few, and all of personal nature. So it feels like it's a generational issue I'm carrying. There is an addiction. There is a trauma. So that I had quite a few things which probably we don't have time no intention to go through on today's life, but it's been an interesting journey, and it's been what I got from Lisa, which is really positive, is we are dealt with the issues we are able to overcome. So, I mean, we are given the issues which we are able to overcome. And this is such a positive message that, for that example, my plan is on the on the autism spectrum. And I always said it to myself, if I wasn't able to handle it, I wouldn't get it. So I love that that takeout.
Okay.
yes, thank you. Yeah. And so for you, Nikki, my question for you would be, why why do you struggle with patience? Can you get to the root cause of where that patience wore thin for you? What strategies, what coping mechanisms happened, were created as a result of you needing things done yesterday? So that root cause piece of it comes from somewhere, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just from our childhood this lifetime. It could be from an ancestral hand down, or like I said, a past life trauma, something like that. And same with you, Monica. So trauma, what type of trauma, and what sort of repeating cycle is it that you truly are ready to overcome? So those are good examples. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I chose to come outside today because it is nice here in the shade, and I'm getting a little bit of competing noises, and that's why I muted myself. So if at any point you can't hear me, please let me know and I'll repeat myself. I didn't think that this was going to be a problem today. My apologies.
No problem. I mean, well, we have the gremlins, which are tonight are not here. I periodically go in and out, so I'm speaking, and then I realise I'm not speaking to absolutely anybody because I've gone black, and then I come back again. So I'm doing very well today because I am staying stationary, so I'm all very happy about that. So things are doing well. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think my personal thing was from I always used to see my mother rushing round, wanting to get things done really fast. So I don't know whether that was me trying to, copy her or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm coping. I'm coping quite well with mine. And luckily, it's not one of the bad ones because so many people have got so much more than I have. So I'm counting myself very lucky, very grateful. And luckily, it allows me to concentrate on what I am actually doing, which is this village, and getting it approved. Well, it's already approved, but getting the different investors in, and really trying to help people, because it's all about trying to create something that's going to help people, and not just
Right.
mm.
Right. And so having patience is necessary, because when you rush through life, there could be little pieces that you miss. And this is certainly not a project where you want to miss some of the fine details. So, yeah, you definitely want to work on that.
Definitely, yes. I mean, I keep getting pushed back quite a bit. So, I'm always like a horse, dun, 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 and then it's just, yeet. So, yeah, I'm definitely in there on that sort of thing. But, I'm working on it. Everybody's in a work in progress, and I am certainly in a work in progress.
We all
So,
are, yes.
so that's cool. That's cool. So, do you feel like talking a bit about the psychic surgery, or do you not feel like it?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah, no, it's very
Great.
exciting.
It
I
is.
had intuitive skills, if you want to call them skill sets. I had different things pop up at different times. I always share the stories. People always say, well, how did you know? When did it start? That kind of thing. And To be honest, mine began very early childhood. I have a tattoo on my arm. I don't know if you can. Let me figure out how to. Anyway, it's a shadow. It's a shadow, and I refer to it as my spirit guide. But I remember speaking to my spirit guide. I put him here on my arm so that when I'm using my hands, I can see him. But I began speaking to my spirit guide. I was still in my crib. I was still in diapers. I remember seeing him in my room and having conversations with him. And as I was a child and, that sort of thing, as I began walking and talking and all that kind of good stuff, I think my parents probably just thought I had an imaginary friend. But, I always knew that he was something a little more special. And then teenage years, early 20s, I learned that I could see spirits or energies, entities, whatever, people have all kinds of different words for them. But I could see them in human form and I would have conversations with them. And so it was really difficult for me actually to determine or discern that I learned in time to ask, do you see them or just me? Because sometimes I would have conversations with people in the street. Like I would be out with a group of friends in public, like shopping or something, and someone would ask me for directions and I would give them directions. And then my friends would turn to me and say, who are you talking to? And I'm like, oh, they just, and then I learned in time that, only I could see them. And when I got into it, yeah, well, it can be confusing though, because what I learned eventually was I could see lost souls. And I remember it was always giving people directions. And I remember saying so many times, I'm like, well, the light is right there. Go ahead, just walk to the light right there. And I would walk to the light and disappear. And so I learned very early on that one of my talents is that I help lost souls cross over. So when I learned that, I had an extreme sense of guilt for all of the souls that I didn't know what I was doing, that I didn't help. Because sometimes people would talk to me and I would just be like, oh, whatever, or. But fortunately, I was never afraid of them. A lot of people don't tune into their intuitive capabilities or skills because they are afraid of them. Mine never scared me. I would just have these random experiences and I would be like, that was cool. And I'd move on. It didn't really seem to affect me negatively. So I'm really thankful for that. But psychic surgery didn't come around until actually just a few years ago. I would say maybe even as recently as like 2 years ago. So I was in a group. They called it a development group, but it was basically for people of all different levels who wanted to practice their intuitive skills, because not everybody gets a chance or not everybody is an intuitive practitioner. And so they're not setting up shop and, taking clients to develop, but they want to, use their skills and develop their skills. And so I was in this development class one time and we were broken up into pairs and it was like a 2-hour class or something. And so there were enough of us in the class that we were each given like 10 minutes with someone and then we would switch partners and then we would rotate and we would find another partner and then another partner. So we kind of kept going around the room. And so like within the 2 hours, I was paired up with a bunch of people practicing, And if you know anything about your intuitive skills, if you know anything about healing, like whatever's going to come up that day comes up. I never know what's going to come through, especially in a class like that. And to this day, I still don't know this woman's name. The first time my psychic surgery came through, I still don't know who she was. I've never met her again. I have no idea who this woman was. But I was given 10 minutes with her in this class, and all I knew was that I closed my eyes, and in my mind's eye, I could see and feel her physical body, if you will. I was manipulating. I remember pulling one of her vertebrae out of her spine and like mechanically manipulating it. I felt like I was a mechanic doing stuff with it. And then I was also working on like her pelvic floor and her pelvic bowl, and I was working on her anatomy and applying medicine. And all this was happening in my mind's eye, and I'm claircognizant. So that means I have a sense of knowing. So even though I wasn't able to at that point, I wasn't able to tell her what I was doing mechanically with her vertebra or what type of medicine I was using. I just, at that point, because it was new to me, I just knew that that's what I was doing. And then, like, at the end of whatever I was doing, I snapped her vertebra back in place and, like, wrapped everything up. And I remember, like,
As one
seeing
does.
myself stitch her skin up. And then it was time to switch. And she just really quickly, she was like, "Oh my God, thank you. For the first time in about 10 years, I don't feel any physical pain in my back. What did you do?" And I was like, I don't know. And so afterwards, I asked my teacher, who was, the facilitator of the development class, I explained it to her and I was like, "What did I do?" And she said, "Congratulations, you've achieved, you're up to physical work." And I was like, and she's the first person who told me that what I do is psychic surgery. And so I have learned that I am from Sirius. I'm a star seed from the galaxy or star system, star system Sirius. And so a lot of Syrians from Sirius are known to be surgeons. And so, yeah, I do that sort of mechanical manipulation on the anatomy with, a fair amount of people. Not everybody gets it, but when it's needed, I can do it. So it's pretty
Nice,
cool.
absolutely.
I've helped people with
Yeah.
with pain and a fair amount, and it's pretty rewarding to know that I can help people with that.
Yeah, that's
So that's
lovely,
my favorite
absolutely.
example because I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. So it was a real mind-blowing experience for
I have
me.
to ask you.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, amazing. Can I just ask one question here?
Sure.
Do you have any medical background? Do you know? Have you ever learned about human anatomy and?
Not to a degree that would probably put me up in the high ranks of an expert, but maybe on the lower ranks of an expert. In my 20s and 30s, I was an esthetician and I actually taught the course. And so we taught anatomy. I had to know, and then I taught muscles, organs, skin, obviously the integumentary system and all that. So I have like a what I call a layman's knowledge, not to the extent of a doctor,
Yes,
but I know enough about how the systems work and correlate together. And I've definitely drawn my fair
it
share
sounds
of,
like it.
stick figures with organs and stuff. So I know some, but yeah, no,
It's amazing
it's
how
Right.
you actually have the expertise, and then they give you a gift, which is quite
right.
fun. I mean,
Well,
because
I think
I
it's the
was
other way around because
oh, okay.
Syrian surgeon is who I am across all my lifetimes. Whether I tapped into that skill
Yeah.
set or not per lifetime is up for debate, but that's who I am innately. That's who I am as a soul. And so, they brought it to my attention this lifetime to give me the skills, like Monica asked, so that I would know more. So it wasn't such a big learning curve for me in that regards. I did know some.
Nice. Yeah, that's a
Thank you.
fabulous gift. Absolutely.
So,
Is there anything else that you do that is quite interesting that people would like to know about that you'd like to tell people or explain to people? Because what happens is that a lot of people listen to these things when they're just
Uh-huh.
starting their spiritual journey and things. So they listen to other people's experiences and things.
Right. So my advice to beginners is hang in there and don't try to force anything. Allow things to come to you naturally because when you try to force things, obviously, how does the saying go? That which you resist persists. And so trying to force something is actually resistance because you're pushing through. Hint, hint, patience there, Miss Nikki. Just kidding.
Oh yes, I know.
I'm
I've
kidding.
seen that Monica thinks she hasn't done something for
Oh,
ages, and she's going, no,
I'm totally joking with you. But
no, that's
no,
amazing.
just be patient because the more you allow that innocence to envelop, to go to come at it with that innocent mind, to see it from a new perception, makes it more wonderful. When you try to force something to happen, you have an expectation, you create an expectation. And I find that when you have an expectation, then there's room for judgment. There's room for not getting what you want. It then turns into you trying to force something, and that it's not always guaranteed that you're going to get that. And so my advice to beginners is to allow the process, trust the process. Whatever is meant to be for you will be. But I can certainly say this, like I said, my skill set started out as one thing. And at this point, very, very rarely. It just so happens that a couple of days ago, I was hiking up in a forest area and I saw some entities in human form. But that's probably the first time I've seen them in human form like that, probably in almost a decade. So
Sorry, what did you say that you saw in human form? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
when I see entities in human form or other souls in human form. So I thought that I had lost that skill, but turns out it's just as you grow and develop new skills, the other ones tend to relax a little, so that you're not like overwhelmed. But you need that space and time to grow and develop and nurture, foster, whatever, the new things as they come on. And so with each new skill that you develop, some of the other ones that you have experienced before may not always stay with you, but they're all there. It's just a matter of tuning in. And with time, as you perfect them, you still get to add them to your repertoire, but you pull them as you need them. But you do increase and develop more and more. So having patience and not forcing allows you to hone in on that skill and perfect it. And yeah, I have since learned that I have all kinds of skills and talents. I am attuned to an angelic energy that is strictly for progression in your ascension process. I cross souls over. I call myself sometimes a medical intuitive because of the psychic surgery. I can do an intuitive spiritual body scan, and I can do physical mechanical work like that, the psychic surgery. And let's see, just in the last, I would say 3 weeks, actually, for the first time, I have a new skill that's just popped up that is absolutely blowing my mind, that I've used now a couple of times in the last few weeks. And I have no idea where it came from, but it's pretty cool. I've learned that I can do 3D printing implants. So when I'm doing my psychic surgery, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then just other things, like all of the intuitive work that I do, and it's really hard to just bullet point them out. There are so many things that we can do, and I choose not to hone in and focus on one and try to force one. I just allow myself to be a channel, and whatever is going to come through is what's going to come through, because it's what that person or client needs at that time. And so I work with everything that's available to me.
Can we just go back to that, what you were saying about how you could see other beings, being human? How do you know that? How do you see that, if that's okay?
When I was younger, I would just see them and I would walk up to them and talk to them, like thinking they were like friends or something. But now I give it time, and I notice, like, if they're walking, say, across a field or something, I wait for it now, and I'll see that they will all of a sudden appear out of nowhere, and then they'll take a couple of steps and then they'll disappear again. So then I'd be like, oh, okay, they're not human, they're not 3D, they're not human. So I've learned,
but they just they look before human and then just go out of it.
They're just kind of all around. Yeah, they're all around me all the time.
Yeah, because when I live in a go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I the way I perceive world and live through the world now, it fascinates me. Like right now, like you can't see it, but right in front of me, about this far, like I have fairies who hang around me all the time. I'm looking at fairies floating around in my eyesight all the time. I see unicorns. I see earth people. I see all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Well, we had a shaman stay at our village for quite a long time, and he's coming back actually. And he used to tell me all the things that he would see and things like this. And I mean, I never not believed it because you can't. But obviously, you can't understand because you never experienced it. And he was telling me this and this and this, and I was sort of going, oh wow. And then I started seeing things not as way as anything like you guys have seen, but things that are not really normal. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw some
It's why we have
various
to
things
stick
out.
together so that we can be comfortable having these kinds of conversations. I can sit here and say to you, oh, the fairies just came in, and I won't be judged. I need to be around people like you all the time.
Well,
Because
you
I want
should
to
come
be
here.
free, and I want to be able to say that.
Yeah, well, you can
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you can come here because well, you don't know about this, but Monica's just been over to Italy, and I've actually seen fairies, actually physically seen them, as opposed to sort of, because I know that they're there, or I know that they're thinking all this, but I didn't. Anyway, I saw them 3 times, so I was very blessed. And Monica came over, and in her dreams, she was seeing, the spirits from the trees, and then she saw a spirit from the mountain,
Nice.
which was really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yes.
It
It's
is.
not a
That's
subject
beautiful.
for every conversation, but it is beautiful. Absolutely. I was just thinking when you were talking about the things you see, that your word is quite beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Seeing your
Yes, and I love that I
being,
get to express myself. Yes, and we have someone new who just joined. I want to peek and see who that is.
This is Angel.
Angel
Yes.
Marie. Hi, Angel.
Angel is.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too, and I want to say hello to Nikki and Monica, and
Hi,
honey, and everybody out there. And I just said, Lisa, which was about feeling like you have a tribe, that you have some place to go to be, and that you're not considered like, this is crazy. I mean, for the last 20, 30 years, I've been doing this, and it's always been something's wrong with you, but yet now everyone is really starting to get awoke. They're starting to awaken.
Yes.
And it's so exciting to have the different generations, to the younger, stepping really into their power. And having Nikki and Monica to have a platform. Thank you for having the platform.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
there was a time when, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure who was talking.
Yeah, you go, Angel. It's your turn anyway. I was coming to you next.
You go. We have a delay.
Yeah, Angel's our resident angel. Actually, she comes on, and she's got so much knowledge. It's just fabulous. So we always love having Angel here, and she's always got the most incredible energy. And when I first spoke to Angel, I know when I'm supposed to be speaking to people, because they have this sort of glow around them, almost like a halo, almost like an aura, but it's not. For me, it's sort of a bit like sprinkly lights type of thing, and it's really cool. So her and I have been soul sisters since we met. So she's coming over to the Bordeaux as well. So she's an absolute loved one, and we just love having her here because she's so knowledgeable about so many things. Have you got any knowledge on psychic surgery, Angel?
Well, thank you, Nikki, for
talking.
And thank you for all of that. The psychic surgery that I do, or the psychic, I like to say, just releasing of shackles. Sometimes I put it, right, Lisa? That it's like they have shackles on them. And it's like, I don't really see them, but I can feel it's weighting them down. And it's removing and unwinding and bringing it out.
That's interesting, because I feel like I do that when I'm drawing upon angelic energy, and there's an energetic clearing happening. Yeah, I definitely experience that with most of my clients, actually.
Well, and that's something when a student or a client comes in and they want a Reiki healing, which we can call Reiki, right? We can call it XYZ, Universal Life Force Energy. It doesn't matter what we label it. It's energy. But they come in for that, and they want a clearing. Well, as soon
Right.
as they walk in, they already know that they're going to get a clearing because they've already come with in their heads and their hearts. Oh, Angel's going to fix me, which I do not do. But yet in their brain, it's already being done. You understand, Lisa? Yes, Monica, I know you do. Nikki too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so for you folks out there that are light workers, you understand that really what we think about, we bring about. And once they make that appointment, they're already in that place. But once they come in, to sit with them and not just do the healing, to sit with them and be able to tell them that 9 times out of 10, they have a plate right in their lower back, or they have a plate right here. That's what I found. And it's removing that plate and teaching them how to remove the plate to unleash that their belief system says, I have an entity, or I have a spell. I get that one a lot too. I have a spell that some psychic told me they want $2,000 to release. Oh, Lisa, you know what I know. It's like, are you serious? Are you serious? I'm going to teach you how to run your energy, how to understand your energy, and then you'll know if you have something in your energy. Like a belief that says, I'm not good enough. A belief that says, I come from lack. So psychic surgery, we can call it that, but yet it's clearing also. It's just a clearing and teaching everyone that comes through my door how to do that. It's important for me, and not just do it and let them, and then have them come back and have the belief that, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me.
Right.
So
that is definitely, I would consider that, for me, when I'm working on someone, I would consider that more clearing work, more energy healing work. You came a little late, but I was explaining my version of psychic surgery is when I do actual physical body work on the energetic level. I've removed 600-year-old harpoons.
Aww. She went away.
Lisa. No, we've lost her. Yeah, she should come back. Let me make sure that we get her back. Hi, Dr. Bell.
Yeah, if you want, I can disappear because maybe that's why she disappeared. No,
it shouldn't. It shouldn't have done that. But I think what she's saying is what she's talking about is the psychic surgery. She's going into a soul level.
You know, with the psychic surgery, they actually go and have a look at the bones, and they move them around, and they do things like what Lisa was saying, which is a bit different from what you were saying, but because it's more surgery. Lisa,
I was getting ready
to. Real doctor.
Right. So and there's and everybody has their own definition. So if you call that psychic surgery, then you're doing psychic surgery. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong answer. So you are absolutely correct. That is what you do. My definition for me is a little different. I was beginning to say I've removed like 600-year-old harpoons out of people's, where they've been impaled. I've removed swords out of people's backs. From spiritual attacks. I've, all kinds of things. Yeah, I see actual warfare that I remove, hardware.
So you actually, that is amazing. Because I've had a dagger that was released, and I've released. So different versions, yeah. Can I ask the question, though? Is, you said that you see fairies?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see gnomes?
Well, so to me, I know that they're fairies because they're light, but they're about the size of gnats. And I just look like I see, what I see are, like, if you will, lightning bugs that just kind of float in front of me, like, all the time. And I've had someone else tell me that they are fairies, that I have a lot of fairies around me. So I don't, if they're gnomes, I don't know. I do know that I have a gnome that lives on my ankle, and he tugs on me when I need grounding. So when I feel my ankle feeling tight, I know that that's my gnome Thomas telling me that I need to ground more into reality and be embodied more. But as far as seeing them, I don't think I see them like the little guy in the red hood and jacket and blue pants, and no. Nor do I see fairies like like little, butterfly look and little things. I just see twinkling light, like glitter vision almost. But I've been told that they're fairies.
Thank you. And Nikki, if you can ask your guy that sees stuff, I have an affinity with the gnomes. When I was a child, my mom just sent me these pictures of me with this gnome, and she said it was like my baby, like I carried it everywhere. And now I have
nice.
I know, and I'm like, okay. And then if you look up gnomes, it's very hard to find anything on them. But then I know that they're in my patio because I've talked to them and told them to quit messing with Sean because they kept messing with my dog. And I knew it was the gnomes. But I've never, so that's why
they're playful.
They're really
they're playful.
They're very playful, but they can be very stern and they really bug her sometimes.
Oh. You can program them. Have you ever tried programming energy? You can program them.
Oh yeah, I mean, talking to them and saying, "Look, this is what I want you to do. You're not allowed in the house because they're not allowed in the house because they're getting in for pen." I'm like, "You're not allowed in the house. You have to stay outside." Right. But when the fine goes out, it's not just your area.
Right.
We have to work together here, and they do. They work together now with me. But I was just wondering because it's kind of fun to get a little bit more insight.
Well, we all see them differently, I think. Yeah. I have friends who can see people's souls, but they don't look human like I see them. So.
Yeah. I love how your definition of the psychic surgery, it's a different definition. And it really made me think my definition is so that I don't scare that out of everybody. Really.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say to somebody that comes in that doesn't really do into it, I'm not going to say, I just removed a dagger from your back from 10,000 years ago, even though that's what I did.
Why not?
I really, some of them, I just assume not to tell them because they go, oh, wow, what did you do? And it's like, that was energy. That was something that was there. And I want you to cut. But it depends on the person. I mean, obviously, when I work with other people, I can say, you got shackles and we're moving in shackles. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
I feel like it's a responsibility for me to tell them certain things, like especially when I wrote an ebook. It's on my website. I include in the ebook a story about where I removed a 600-year-old harpoon from someone to remove pain. She came in for pain management, and I found and removed a 600-year-old harpoon that had impaled her on a whaling ship. She was standing at the wrong place at the wrong time. And she just was like, my whole life I've had pain. Why don't I have pain anymore? And it's my responsibility to tell her, well, you've been carrying this harpoon around for how many lifetimes? It's about time you let that go. I think they're welcome to know what you've done. I've never had anybody afraid of me.
Yeah, I just ask Spirit what they want me to do. And if they say no, just tell them it was, then I just go with it. Yeah, I just have a direct, like, tell me what to do, tell me how to do it. So that's wonderful, Lisa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's about time to wrap up.
Ladies, can I bring a question from...
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I've got one question here from Lana. Can we just have a quick look at it?
Yes.
Can you see it on the screen?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Lawrence Kapteng?
No.
I've never.
I don't know what that is.
But thank you, honey, for asking, Lana. And Lana was on my Healing Circle show. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. And Lisa, I'm going to have to get with you to come on too, because that'll be fun to bring you on too.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. So bring me on to where? What are you?
It's like we're going to the Healing Circle. And
yes, Nikki has invited me in.
Yes, she actually has her own podcast as well that she does where she interviews.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you can, she can talk to you about that afterwards and see if you'd like to do that.
Sure, just messenger me.
We've all been on. Absolutely. Okay, any last messages?
Thank you.
Well, thank you
so much.
We appreciated you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Any last messages from you, Angel?
No, I'm good, and thank you for the different definition and your energy, and I can't wait to collaborate with you. Yes.
Thank you.
Any last words, Monica? Monica? Hello?
Now it's been just a pleasure to, yeah, you can hear me. It's been just a pleasure to have a chance to see you live, so feel your energy and listen to quite an interesting story about your life. You know, it's just beautiful how you see things you can't see. I mean, I see them occasionally, but only when I'm in Italy with Mickey at Abruzzo.
I can't wait to get there. I'm going to come over and visit for sure.
Yeah, well, either.
You would enjoy.
We'll all be there or be square. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Thanks very much. Everybody have a wonderful evening, day, night, or whatever you're doing. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Keep shining.
Keep shining.
Keep